secondaries, and side streets and cul-de-sacs are the third tier. You know, this morning, just to use for today, for example, which has pretty much been typical for the last 3 events, because we've almost gotten a foot of snow a week for the last 3 weeks. Mr. Ray plowed commercial until about 2 o'clock. He was strictly commercial, and that was with help from Gary. So I was actually out all day today as well. We started at 4 this morning. The guys probably just left within the last half hour, and we'll come in tomorrow at 5. So we've gotten the majority of the streets right now, at least once. And most of those, if we could, we've salted it. There are still some cul-de-sacs that we have not gotten, and I think the perception is, one, that part of the issue, like I was describing, that people are blowing snow back on the street, and that gives the perception that it hasn't been plowed. 2, if a car has to run off, or they're trying to share the road, or they're just running into snow that hasn't been plowed, it brings it out into the street. And third is, it got warmer today, and as the hard pack gets warm, it actually expands. And so if we got a foot of snow that got packed into 2 or 3 inches of hard pack on the street, at some point when it melts, it expands back up to that before it actually gets plowed away and melts. So that's kind of I think several residents are getting the impression that we haven't plowed a street when we have plowed the street, but there are a number of different circumstances that could lead them to believe that it hasn't been plowed. The cul-de-sacs, we're trying to get to them as soon as we can. A number of them were plowed today. My primary focus tomorrow will be cul-de-sacs. In all 3 events that we've had, all streets, all cul-de-sacs were plowed within the end of the 2nd day of the event. So basically, we won't start on side streets or cul-de-sacs until the snow is finished. And part of that is the cul-de-sacs themselves can take 30 minutes to plow, just one cul-de-sac. And a lot of that is just the mechanics of the truck and the fact that a foot of snow, you have to figure out where to put it. And it's just a lot of back up, pull forward, back up, pull forward, because you can't pull into a cul-de-sac and go around the cul-de-sac. 1, you can't push that amount of snow. And 2, after the first driveway, that snow goes off of both edges, and you end up getting like a 4-foot wall in front of everybody's driveway. And then you can't get it out because you can't get to their driveway. So there's 68 cul-de-sacs in the township. And so if you just estimate 30 minutes apiece, which some can take 45, yes, some take 15. But with 5 guys, I just did a quick calculation, it would be about 6 to 7 hours apiece just on cul-de-sacs. And so it's not that we're ignoring them, we're trying to get to them as soon as possible, but the priority is based upon road of travel, how many people we can hit first. And we're kind of doing our best. I think a lot of the cul-de-sacs right now that have generated probably the most complaints, we've plowed, they've compacted, they've had snow blown in, and we just haven't gotten back to them yet. So we're doing the best we can. If you'd like to look at some type of a different priority, this is the way the township has been doing it for years, I think, as long as Mr. Ray's been here. We're open to suggestions, we're open to comments. We're just kind of following the protocol and doing the best we can right now.
Thank you. Okay. All right.
Generally speaking, I've gotten a few comments in the last couple of days from people who live on cul-de-sacs, but by and large, I think the complaint levels, at least at the trustee level, have been very low. So that's, I think, a good sign for the efforts that we, especially given the duration and the sheer amount of snow that we've been dealing with. I think that it's been a great effort. I mean, obviously, we're still in the thick of it, so we can't take it for granted, but just keep up the good work and let the guys know we appreciate it. Yeah, so we're still in the thick of it, granted, but so far so good. And I think there's additional support that is needed for cul-de-sacs, then communicate what you think will be helpful so that we can speed the effort up on the cul-de-sac side of the ledger.
Mr. Ray and I have been talking about it. I mean, without expending, you know, resources that the township doesn't have. We have 6 trucks. We have, you know, 6 drivers. And actually, for all 3 events, we've had at least 1 truck down. This morning, we were down a truck most of the day because we got it stopped on one of the streets and couldn't get it out. It was towed out this morning. We've had issues with hydraulic lines and that, and Mr. Ray's done an excellent job, you know, repairing them, staying late, and getting everything up and running as soon as possible. So, and for the most part, I have to say that a lot of the residents have been very complimentary. You know, they'll call up and say, you know, we think you're doing a good job, but can you get to my court? So I think they recognize the overall job. I understand the frustration. The courts can really collect a lot of snow. And, you know, we're trying to do the best we can.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. I think we learned a lot. I feel like
More than you ever wanted to know.
I feel like a snow expert at this point. Yeah, but thank you. Appreciate that. Well, the time has come, and we are ready for our 7:30.